Hello, my friends. Welcome to me, your host, Christian Watson. So, my friends, if you're familiar with this channel and you have watched a lot of my stuff, or even if you haven't, if you come across a particular few videos, which I'm not going to mention, because you should know already if you have come across them, you'll probably know that I have a typical sexual disposition, meaning that I'm gay. Now, this is not a fact that I advertise. I don't advertise it for a few reasons, actually. Number one, it is ultimately inconsequential to my commentary. If you're listening to my commentary and you're doing it because I like men, then you're not listening to me for the right reasons, and I would ask you to either A, reevaluate why you're listening to me, or B, stop listening to me unless you can find a better reason. It disturbs me when people look at others in light of their identity as opposed to embracing the divine complexity of their individual human being, the many and multitudes that we all contain up in our soul. So please, that's one reason. And number two, I find that there is an operation. People talk about grifters these days. There is an operation of particular individuals, again, I will not name names, of particular individuals who do everything in their power to make themselves stick out in the political discourse, again, because of their sexual disposition. And that is essentially what their commentary becomes about. That is essentially what their being in the political space becomes about. It's not about securing individual rights. It's not about ensuring that the issues that government are tackling are issues that pertain to the original goal of the American experiment. It's not about good governance. It's not about the role between the individual and the society. It's not about economics. It's not about unlocking creative energy and having a free flow of thought and a free flow of action that goes from one vector to another, which creates something beautiful. It's not about the very raw meat and potato stuff of the political reality. It's about them and a sort of solipsistic idea. And for those of you who are familiar, a solipsism is basically something in which you believe the entire world and its existence revolves around you. That means everything in the world has to do with you. But of course, anyone who understands reality understands that the world is much bigger than us. We are objective facts of the world. We are a part of the world's functions, of course, but we are not the world. So I have tried to avoid that kind of stuff for a very long while. I have done my very, very best. But it's gnawing at me because I see a lot of other iconoclastic LGBTQ conservative and libertarians using their sexuality as a tool for political capital, or expressing sexuality through their political preferences so they can feel welcomed or accepted in a community when they probably, for a good majority of their lives, did not feel welcome or accepted. So I figured I would just come here to talk to you guys about my experience as a gay libertarian conservative guy. And really, again, and this is my critique of social justice, I don't want to reduce my human experience to a particular aspect or facet. So just know, keep this in the back of your mind while I'm talking about this. I am a complex individual, as are you. There is much more to me than this. In fact, if you watch my channel regularly, you will see I talk about that most every single day. But for this few minutes, I'm going to spend some time talking about this. So, I used to be very, very, very gung-ho on certain ideas. I used to be far more dogmatic than I am now. I am quite dogmatic now, I would say, but I used to be far more. I used to not even want to consider other viewpoints. I used to be someone who thought other viewpoints should be shut down. This is when I was more of a traditionalist, As time went on, I began realizing, when I realized that I was gay, that didn't change very many things. What changed very many things when I realized, this is around 15 or 16, when I realized the extent to which identity is used as a political tool to curry certain favor. And that's when I realized, Christian, the root of the root of the gay identity thing, in which so many people use to forward certain things, is no different than the root of an identity that might be used by a right-wing group either. Identity politics is used on both sides of the aisle. I began realizing this. And I also began realizing that a lot of people in their life, and I think a guy called Matthew Crawford makes this point in his book, The World Beyond Your Head, which I think is full with a bunch of nonsense, but he makes some good points. A broken clock is right twice a day. He makes some good points, and he says that the statistical self, viewing yourself as a statistic or a demographic, kind of shields you from the responsibility of who you are as an individual, and this is correct. I think when a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm a gay conservative, I'm a gay libertarian," they're expressing a sense of either pain or discomfort that they've had. Because many gay conservatives and gay libertarians are unfortunately not welcomed amongst the LGBTQ space at large. And we'll discuss that in a moment. And so they say that they are these things. They step into these group identities so that they can be better served by the approbation, by the approval of their fellow gay conservative peers. I never really did that. I tried to curry the favor of a lot of those kind of people. And to a certain extent, I'm still trying, but they never really accepted me. Yeah? I was never, because also we have to understand this. When you identify politics through a sexual lens, I'm going to be honest here, your attraction or your attention span, insofar as politics is concerned, becomes decidedly carnal. So when you say I am a gay conservative and you go on and you identify your politics through that, if you look at the Twitter feeds of a lot of gay conservatives, I won't say names, but it's all sexual stuff. They say they're conservative, they say they're libertarian, but it's all sexual stuff. It's all stuff that has nothing to do with politics and everything to do with being in carnal pursuit of the flesh and not really adhering, because politics is a spiritual act, my friends. It's spiritual insofar as it is predicated upon values that are not immediately apprehendable to our senses. So I've tried getting involved in sort of gay conservative circles, but they were never interested, because I don't have the look that is typically accepted there. I don't have the chiseled jawline or whatever, and this is not like me saying that I look bad. All I'm saying is that amongst certain kinds of people, there are certain kinds of standards. And if you're going to group yourself into a certain political demographic, you're going to be subject to the judgments at large of that particular political demographic. It's most unfortunate. See, most gay libertarians or gay conservatives say, well, I have trouble with leftists. Look, I won't lie to you. I have had quite a few gay left-leaning people curse me out or say bad things about me or say that I am whatever. But that's not been my issue. My issue has always been other gay conservatives. Because most of the time there's a poverty of values. Again, it's all about the carnal stuff for them. They may eschew pride parades. They may say all this, the broader quote-unquote gay culture, whatever that means, is bad. And I agree in some instances. I don't go to pride parades. I think that pride parades and all that kind of stuff really gives way to certain kinds of activity that is not refined. I'm trying to refine my humanity every single day. I'm trying to get closer to the divine. So I can't do that kind of stuff. But in the same breath, I see a lot of these gay conservatives go and turn around and post on their Twitter feeds or wherever they have social media how much they want to have sex with some random guy, or how many other gay conservative guys they have in their private messages or whatever. It just boggles the mind. But again, they view their conservatism, they view their libertarianism in the lens of their sexual proclivities. So my friends, my experience, hot tea, beautiful stuff. Earl Grey, actually. But no, friends, my experience as a gay libertarian has simply been one of dejection for many other gay libertarians and conservatives, and one of bafflement with the simultaneous critique of the culture that many gay conservatives have, and then the simultaneous embrace of a lot of the subjects that are being critiqued of that culture. If you want my personal opinion, we shouldn't call ourselves gay conservatives, or I'm a gay man and I'm a contrarian. Forget that, guys. Come on. There's a reason why I'm struggling to make this video right now, actually, because of how deep the gospel of individualism that comes from that Emersonian adage, that comes from that what many understanding, that comes from the early mothers of the libertarian movement. My understanding of individualism is just so American and is so enmeshed in the intellectual soil and fabric of this nation that I'm uncomfortable making this video. But it's important for you guys to know where I'm coming from. We shouldn't call ourselves gay conservatives. We shouldn't call ourselves gay libertarians. We shouldn't call ourselves these things. We should say, first and foremost, I'm an American. First and foremost, I'm an individual. And my sexuality shall not be a vector by which I make political determinations. But when you have a very hostile, aversive culture in the left, attacking people who think differently, you get a reaction of that. My friends, if you exist in an environment which you're constantly being attacked, and you finally muster up the energy to fight back, you'll fight back. But the result of your fighting back will mirror the kind of treatment you were getting in a different way. So many gay conservatives, again, are not treated well, even by the GOP or even by the leftists, because they're considered to be traitors and sellouts and all kind of things. They go over to the little camps, and the gay conservative camp again reflects the leftist camp, because again, that's what's been modeled for them. We can only work with the concepts we have. That's why I say, look, before I'm gay, before anything, I'm Christian Watson. I'm not going to have my conceptions, my understanding of the truth, of the divine, refined and reflected by what people who do not have my best interest at heart think about me. I will not reduce the whole of myself to who I like. That's the problem, though. That's the problem on both sides, amongst gay leftists and gay conservatives. That's the problem. Although gay leftists have far more bigger problems than just that. Whew, Jesus Christ. They're operating on a entirely different metaphysical understanding of the world. All that identity stuff. But the problem is, how are gay conservatives going to be the alternative when many of us are the ones reflecting the kind of culture we're critiquing? So, look, this is an interminable sort of stream of consciousness, not rant, just conversation here. But that's in my experience, guys. Yeah, I've had some leftist gays attack me, but I also have some leftist gay friends who love me. And I disagree with them. They know I disagree with them, and we have conversations. A lot of those conservative gay guys, some of them talk to me, some of them don't, and they all seem to be enthralled with the image of who they're talking to, rather than the ideas. Which is why I think when you filter politics and political considerations through your sexual proclivities, you don't really interact with the truth of politics. You interact with an emaciated version of what politics looks like, a sort of allegory of the cave situation, and that leads you nowhere. So fundamentally, my friends, I just want to say this. If you are a gay conservative, or whatever, as I am, I guess, I want you to stop thinking I'm a gay conservative and just think I'm an individual. And I'm not going to see politics through the lens of my sexuality, no matter how much my aggressors want me to. When you do that, my friends, you really claim back the peace that has been taken from so many of us by many sectors of the world. And you claim your own destiny for you and no one else. There's nothing more powerful, more contrarian than that. Think on it. As always, my friends, I love you, and please, if you want to, support me on Patreon, Official C. Watson. That's my Patreon thing. Official C. Watson, patreon.com/Official C. Watson. PayPal, same thing. But as always, my friends, please, thank you, and stay pensive. Bye-bye.